Warriors, welcome. I recovered from anxiety. Why not you? Today, it's an eye-opening day. Today, we gain further clarity on this journey that we're on towards anxiety recovery. And today, we make sure that we no longer use our fighting or our willpower or motivation to try to get us through our emotional struggles, my friends. I want to make things very, very clear to you today, okay? And I want to touch on the idea of how my anxiety recovery can be no different than anybody else's anxiety recovery. And when I'm saying recovery, I'm talking about being less sensitized to other people's comments, less sensitized to my own negative thinking, less sensitized to certain environments that I used to be sensitized towards. So that's what I mean by anxiety recovery. And by no means do I mean that anxiety recovery is the end-all be-all to your self-mastery journey. This is important because a lot of people with anxiety, they start to, get to the core root of the problem. They change their thinking patterns. They begin visualization. They do all these tools. They get rid of the core beliefs and begin to put in new beliefs within their system. And then they stop. They completely stop. And the truth is that your system takes a long time before those habits become ingrained within you. So you must continue your journey towards character development and personal growth for your entire life. This is really, really crucial to understand. And this is what I started to understand in my anxiety recovery. It wasn't like, oh, I'll drink chamomile tea for 4 days and then judge it to see if it's working or not. It was okay, not good enough, put it to the side. It wasn't that kind of thing. It's like, let's give it time. Let's give it some commitment. Let's make sure that we see the big picture, not such a narrow-minded view of what recovery is. So the first thing that I want you guys to understand today is that we've got to simplify your day, your mind, your body. We need to simplify things because when people wake up in the morning, how jumbled up is their brains? When I woke up in the morning, it was like, okay, I got to be the best dad in the world. I've got to, have this incredible career that creates this incredible amount of significance in me. And then I've got to take care of my recovery, and I've got to be the best husband on the planet. And I've got to, tap in my creativity, and I've got to contribute to other people. Are you nuts? So thinking about everything like that will definitely add to the anxiety that you're currently feeling. It doesn't matter if it's health anxiety and you're a hypochondriac, or GAD or panic, it doesn't matter. We must start with a morning intention. Just one. And when you start with that morning intention and you put that elastic band on or something that reminds you of your intention, you can always go back to simplifying things as you're going through your day. So the most important thing to start with is just start with an intention. What do you want from the day, and where do you want your focus go? Where do you want your focus to go, so that you can better your emotional state, your mental state, your physical and spiritual state? Simplifying things and starting with a morning intention. That's very, very important. Okay, and I'm not telling you guys any of this stuff. I'm just pulling it from textbooks. I'm not that kind of person. I'm going to show you what's going to work for you. I'm going to show you that if you can stick to this stuff in all my videos, in the End the Anxiety program, in all my podcasts, that you're going to get to where you want to go. The second thing that I really want you guys to focus on, that I focused on in my anxiety recovery, and I still do, is inner self-love. And when I'm talking about self-love, I'm not talking about self-love, my white light, oh, I'm so spiritual. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the language that you use towards yourself when something icky shows up. For example, a symptom shows up. How do you speak to yourself in that moment? Okay? Someone criticizes you in some way. You hear a comment or you remember something from way back when and you keep beating yourself up over it. The truth is that when it comes to anxiety, so many people out there have not accepted something from their past, or they haven't expressed something that's living within them. So what have you not accepted from your past and it's still lingering within you? And what have you not expressed that you need to express in your life? And when it comes to these things, my friends, you must have that gentle, self-loving inner language that you need in order to create the kind of character that you want to and deserve to become. So speak to yourself in a way where you're gentle, you're self-loving, and you understand that this is a process. Okay, it's not an overnight thing. There is no magic Harry Potter wand dangling and saying, poof, no more anxiety. Doesn't work that way. Self-love. The third thing that you must understand, and all of these go hand in hand, is patience. I mentioned this, and it's patience. You got to have that amount of patience as you're going through the journey, because the people that take 3 steps forward and 3 steps back are the ones that don't have the right mindset going into their recovery. So you must be patient. You must give it weeks, months, and even years, depending on how severe things have been and how deep things have been, how long you suffered. It's all dependent on many factors, but no matter what, and I've seen people recover within days and I've seen people recover within years. A lot of that has to do with who you're working with, what you're working on. Are these the right tools for you and such? But more than anything, please, please, please develop a mindset that is patient. I'll ask you one question. When you go on the 99% of forums and chats on Facebook and on the internet and when you hear people on Twitter and Instagram, you name it, are these people patient? No, they don't have any patience. They don't have the right mindset, and that can create more anxiety and more frustration inside a person, and that's not what we want. Okay, so we've got to be patient. The next thing I want you to understand is what the Japanese coined as being Kaizen. Kaizen is the ability for someone to have never-ending and lasting improvement. Okay, so that means that this process, like I mentioned in the beginning, will never end. Okay, constant and never-ending improvement. I believe that's what it was. So always see yourself as competing with who you were yesterday. Compete with yourself from yesterday. If something went wrong yesterday, ask yourself, what did you gain from it? What lesson did you gain from it? And what could you have done differently? How could you have thought differently? How could you have behaved differently? Just be better than you were the day before. This is what Kaizen is about, okay? Because when we're talking about anxiety, we're talking about 3 different brains here. Okay, your primitive brain, which is your reptile brain, which is looking out for your survival. Okay, your mammalian brain, which is responsible for your emotions, and your neocortex, which is responsible for your analyzing and rationalizing and trying to figure things out. If the reptile brain sees something that might be a threat, guess what? That's not anxiety. Anxiety happens when the emotions kick in. So what makes the emotions kick in? The perception, the thoughts, the behaviors, the way you speak to yourself, the way you speak to other people. If you can just understand that the initial, oh my God, isn't the thing that causes you anxiety. It's the additional emotions that are added through words and thoughts and behaviors that adds the emotions that then makes you an anxiety sufferer. This is important to understand. Okay, now, my friends, with all of this, I want to dive just gently into the root cause of your anxiety. Okay, I recovered from anxiety. Why not you? One of the things that helped me was to understand, where did this person come from? Where did this character come from? Who is this guy? Why am I so anxious? So I want to ask you something. When did your anxiety begin? Who did you have to be in order to fit in? Are you a mirror image of your authority figures, which is your mom, your dad, your brother, your sister, your teacher, your coach? Doesn't matter. Are you a mirror image in your thoughts, your beliefs, your behaviors, your reactions as that authority figure? Interesting. Because in the early days, I recognized that I needed to be a worrier. I needed to have anxiety early on in my life in order to have the love that I craved from the people that were around me, mainly my parents. They approved of things when I was very, very, worryful, very, very narrow-minded on one focus and such. And these sorts of things added a lot of anxiety to a child's life. So I became a worrier. So I want to ask you that question. Who did you have to be in order to be accepted, in order to be loved, in order to feel like you were, a part of something, a part of a family, a part of a group, whatever it may be? We're getting to the root cause now. Because if you can see how wrong it was, we can begin to change it. Because it's almost like a telephone that's never been updated since you were a child. Okay, that's your core beliefs. You're still living with the same beliefs you had from way back when, and it's not helping you in your life, so we must begin to shift the way you see yourself, people, the world around you, and definitely your future, my friends. Okay, so morning intention, number one. Inner self-love, the way you speak to yourself. Patience, make sure you have the right mindset. Kaizen, constant and never-ending improvement. And the root cause. Who did you have to be for those people that you were trying to gain acceptance and love from? This is where it begins. It begins from the ages of 0 and 10. And if you can dive deep into that area, you're going to find many, many answers, my friends. I love you guys so much. You are more than anxiety. Hit the bell below. Make sure you get all the notifications for all my videos, guys. And if you have not subscribed already, please subscribe to the Anxiety Guy YouTube channel. I'll see you guys really, really soon. Take care.